Now, when things happen, whenever there's a mass shooting or something, immediately people want to blame gun owners or people that want to protect gun owners, and specifically NRA members. This comes down on you sometimes.
This always comes down.
It does, right? Yeah. Like they point to you. You're the problem.
It comes down on me.
The people that want guns and the people that don't want regulations and don't want, additional screening.
Well, yeah, because you got to think about it. So, like, the figureheads, when you start talking about Wayne, and so people go after them clearly, right? But then also you have the personalities of the brand, which is me, Dana, and
Dana Lash.
Dana Lash, right? She's an official spokesperson, right?
She's a very nice lady. I met her.
Exactly. And then you have Cam Edwards.
Been on his show as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what tends to happen is I get it a lot via social because that's how I built my brand, right? I built my brand through social. And so most people will, when they can't descend, like, I don't think Wayne LaPierre has a Twitter page. You know what I mean? He doesn't have an Instagram account.
Right.
So
he's probably in a bunker somewhere.
Nah, no, he's not.
Counting ammo.
he's more normal than you realize.
I believe you. Well, what you are is an interesting version of the NRA. It's like, oh, this is the NRA too. Like, this is a kind of a new thing.
It's multifaceted. Like, I dare anyone to go to the NRA annual meetings, and then if you can, I don't know how secluded it is, go to the board meeting that they have at the NRA meetings. You'll be surprised. They have every race you can think of, different sexualities, you name it.
Oh, I believe you. Look, I was in the NRA forever. I let my membership lapse like a year and a half ago. But I was in the NRA because I just felt like I know people that are just like, we've got to get rid of the guns. I'm like, man, I don't think that's going to do it. And I don't think that's going to stop anything.
And I ask people this all the time. I've done it on my show. I call it the big red button question, right? So you put a big red button, I ask them, if I put a big red button in the middle of the table, if you push this button, all the guns on the planet disappear. Would you do it? And I get various answers, but I wouldn't do it. And people are like, why? Like, why would you not? That'd be the end of violence. I'm like, not really.
It's also the end of defense.
Exactly.
Especially when you're talking about military. I mean, if you don't have guns, like, what are we going to fight with, swords and bows and arrows and shit?
You know what the interesting thing about that too is, a lot of people on the other side will say, they were like, why? The same people will say, well, why do you need an AR-15? And then the inverse, when I say the Second Amendment is actually not about hunting, it's about defending ourselves from a tyrannical government, domestic or foreign. They're like, oh, you think your little stupid guns are going to be able to defend against the government? I'm like, well, then why don't you give me the guns that the government has then? And then they get quiet because they realize the contradiction in what they're stating.
Well, it's also the government. When you say the government, like, protect us against the government, we are the government. The government's filled with people. Yeah. Like, the cops are us. The problem is this separation of us. If you gave me a red button and said, could I end all senseless violence by hitting that button, I would say yes. And then when people say it's a guns problem, I say, do you know that London passed New York City for the first time since 1800 in homicides, and they did it with fucking knives. With knives, to the point where that goofball mayor of London, that dork, on his Twitter page said there's no reason to carry a knife. If you get caught carrying a knife, you'll be prosecuted under the fullest extent of the law.
But this is
a fucking knife. But I've got a knife. Oh, I don't have it on me right now. But I have a knife on me all the time.
This is the same country that utilizes the shining example of what we should be doing in America.
Exactly. And they have more murders in London from knives.
And here's the funny thing about that too. And so they have an uptick in acid attacks. I'm sorry, I think I'd rather be shot.
Yeah, that acid
is crucial.